Hi everyone, RT Squirrel here with the next video in our series exploring the exciting world of classical ciphers. Today we are taking a look at the Union Route transposition cipher. Lessen they and defensive maneuvers, their anticipated advancing aware, take then them spineless snakes, scatter our evasive. Know then they position at this, flee or like will. First we are enemy, quicker we aggressive launch to cowardly. Is not will light force the? Secret codes were an important part of the American Civil War, especially for the Union troops who fought most of the war on what was then enemy ground. Though telegraph lines were supposed to allow people to send private messages to each other, it was easy to tap the wires and listen in. At the request of the government of Ohio, the Union Route cipher was devised by Anson Stager. He was the general superintendent of the Western Union Telegraph Company. It was then General George McClellan, in command of the armies of Ohio, who introduced the cipher throughout the Union military. Stager's ciphers became the nation's first military cryptography system. This cipher was so effective, in fact, that the Confederacy never cracked it. Confederate codebreakers eventually discovered how the messages were coded, but without a key, it remained unbreakable. The Confederacy even took to publishing intercepted messages in their newspapers, hoping someone could decode them. This never happened, though, and the cipher remained secure throughout the entire war effort. Stager's cipher evolved through the years to include several iterations, known as cipher series. There were 12 in all. Cipher series number 4 is what was in use during the final stages of the Civil War. It is also the method I used to encode the ciphertext at the beginning of this video. So in order to decipher our message, we must know how it was enciphered. So let's go over the steps to encode a plain text with the Union Route transposition cipher. The key is the code card. For cipher series number 4, that card would have looked something like this. Now if you look carefully at the ciphertext from the beginning of the video, you might notice it starts with the word lesson, and that lesson is also included on the code card. This is not a coincidence. This first word is known as the commencement word, and it tells the recipient how many rows were in the grid our sender used to encipher the message. In this case, the word lesson indicates to us it was 6. In order to reconstruct the grid our sender used, we also need to know how many columns it had. Now we can determine the number of columns by taking the number of words in the ciphertext, 42 in this case, and dividing by the number of rows, 6. Which tells us the number of columns was 7. So now we can create a grid the same size as the one the sender used to encode the plain text. Pretty cool, right? Except so what? The message still doesn't make any sense, does it? The Union transposition cipher is a route cipher. As recipients, the next thing we need to know is what route our sender used to encode this message. The code card contains that as well. The route is defined with this table. Note that only the numbers in the top row and in the bottom row are significant. The numbers represent the columns of our grid. This code card indicates a route of up 6, down 3, up column 5, down 7, up 1, down 4, and down 2. So to decode my message, I need to fill in the grid with my ciphertext in the same direction. Let's give it a try. So up the 6th column, down the 3rd column, up the 5th column, down the 7th, up the 1st column, down the 4th, and then down the 2nd. And there you have it. Enemy is advancing quicker than anticipated. They are not aware we know their position. We will take aggressive, evasive maneuvers at first light, then launch our offensive. This will force them to scatter and flee like the spineless, cowardly snakes they are. The Union Route cipher had the strong advantage that it worked with words rather than individual letters, making errors in transcription and telegraphy much less common. However, given its use of full words, it was important the sender obscure any phrases or words which might give away the true intent of the message. Oftentimes, names, dates, and any other sensitive information were replaced with code words before enciphering. These code words were included within the code card or code book the recipient also had access to. So for our plain text, we might have replaced, enemy with butterflies, or maneuvers with dance, perhaps offensive with tulips, or evasive with climb, and so on. The disadvantage to the Union Route transposition cipher, of course, was that code books and code cards had to be painstakingly controlled. Loss of a single code book would give the enemy access to all communications. As I mentioned previously, however, we can be thankful that fate did not befall the Union troops, and the cipher served them well throughout the entire American Civil War. Thank you for joining me for a closer look at the Union Route cipher. Our next, and for now our last, video on transposition ciphers will explore the columnar transposition cipher. After that, we will take a look at the second category of classical ciphers, the substitution ciphers. If you enjoyed what you learned here and are interested in more, don't forget to like and subscribe below. Until next time, everyone.